What's up, guys? My name is Charlie Mercury. Welcome to the Quiet Tavern podcast. And if you can't quite tell, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Nah, I'm like a good 30 minutes from Kansas. But I'm here on camera. You guys have seen me before a number of times. I'm going to move this camera a little bit so I'm a bit more in frame.
Alright.
This actually was... Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Professionality, folks, at its finest. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So I'm not drifting off camera here. But as you guys know, I'm Charlie Mercury, and I'll let my special guest for the day introduce himself.
Fucking rock and roll. Jacob Drabek, badass local around here, known on the internet as Irate Incel.
Oh, that's you!
Yes, that is me. So, yeah, what do we want to talk about?
Shit, I don't know. I mean, we typically don't script the show really much anymore. We typically just let it all flow off. Should I put that on mute?
Well, how about I just fucking tell my life story a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me a bit more about yourself.
So I went to school with this boy here, public school, and in 8th grade I got kicked out of school. You want me to talk about that?
If you want to.
I was filming a documentary of the school for a class, and wasn't really thinking, and just filming everything, all the classes, everything. Decided to film gym class, which ended up being a bad thing because I walked into the guy's locker room while filming and talking, caught somebody with their shirt off, and being in 8th grade, it was considered child pornography.
Oh, shit.
So I got kicked out of school. That was fun. Not gay, by the way, so all the ladies watching this, I'm single and ready to mingle. Anyway, went to a Christian school for a bit, met a lot of friends there, had a good time. Am I supposed to be looking at you or at the camera?
Either or.
Alright, hi camera. Went to Christian school for a bit. As an interesting experience, I'm glad I went. Met a lot of good people there. Have a lot of good and bad memories there. And then I graduated. Stayed in... Am I allowed to talk about where we live?
I mean, I don't live in the area really anymore, so that's fine.
Hayward, Wisconsin. That's where I live. Yeah, I stayed here for a little bit. And then met a chick who was living out in North Dakota. And being the simp that I am, decided to move out and be with her, which lasted for about 6 months. While I was out there, I was working at a women's state prison. I have a whole bunch of fun stories there. And then I moved after we broke up. Moved to North Carolina, which is where my parents are currently living. And there I got into politics. And turns out politics sucks. My entire high school career, I wanted to be in politics, wanted to run for something. And then I got down there and got into the thick of it. And I don't know which side you lean on, but I used to lean pretty heavily on the right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got down there, I started working for the Donald J. Trump. I was his field organizer in the Charlotte area. Basically being in charge of a bunch of volunteers. Did that for a while and realized how shitty politics really is. You know, the right side says the left sucks, and the left says the right sucks. And being on the right, I just assumed the left sucked. Turns out, both sides suck. A lot. So, I'm staying out of politics for the rest of my life. Gonna be somewhere in the middle. And after that whole career choice ended horribly, I moved back here.
Oh, is that why you had... Because, when you moved back here... Here, I'm going to use my phone as evidence for this real quick.
Alright.
You made a group chat on Snapchat, which I don't use very often, in all honesty. And you titled it My Failure Celebration, which I'm sad I couldn't come out for that, but work for me had just started back up, I think, by that point. And it was like, I gotta be...
Well, don't worry about not showing up, because almost nobody showed up.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Even your failure celebration was a failure.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's shitty. But yeah, no, that's actually... I'm gonna probe you with some questions here after we get more settled into the show. We're like 5 minutes in. You summed that up pretty nicely.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, no, I guess I'll throw my hat in the ring then. I try to keep my life as far off the internet as I can. Mm-hmm. Just on the rare off chance that someone out there has it out for me and whatever.
I know you get trolled a lot.
I do get trolled a lot. But yeah, no, I'll kind of just fill in my stories as best I can without ruining anything. So yeah, I didn't know that's what you, like. I knew you just kind of vanished for a while there, and I didn't know what had happened. But hearing what it was, I mean, an innocent mistake, all the same, a shitty mistake. But it was a slip of the mind. Technicalities, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm not single, so.
All right.
So high school ran around because that was kind of when I realized that shit, Jacob's not around. What's Jacob? Drabek. Oh, I wonder what happened to him. And freshman year was uneventful. Nothing really too heavily happened there. I made friends with a bunch of seniors. Got really sad when they all left. Sophomore year was okay. I made some new friends. I don't really think much happened there. Junior year happened. I got my first girlfriend. Lasted for about a month.
Okay.
Give or take. And then she dumped me in the shittiest way possible. But what else did you expect from a sophomore in high school?
Okay, yeah.
Senior year rolled around, did another girl for about a week. That was what it was. We still made it close friends, and that's who I'm actually with now. And that's gotten to be pretty serious.
Okay.
And then, senior year was the year that I made my everything. Because I went to New York for choir in April. And we spent like a weekend out there. Got to see all the sights. Got to see the top of the Rockefeller Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a great view.
Yeah.
Got to eat some delicious New York cuisine. Got to perform in Carnegie Hall. That was really cool.
Oh, all right, nice.
And I got to see probably the coolest thing, personally, that I've ever seen out in New York. Because our last day being in New York was sightseeing, and I'm like, I really had two places I wanted to go: the Garden,
okay,
and the Nintendo World Store. So I got my picture taken outside the Garden, and we went to the Nintendo store, and I saw there's a Game Boy on display there that got bombed in the Gulf War.
Really?
Yeah, and it still runs. It's all cosmetic damage.
That's kind of badass.
It was. I didn't even tell you what it was playing when I got there. It was playing Tetris.
All right, cool. Well, speaking of chicks, I've only really dated 3 girls. One was in high school, a chick I went to Christian school with.
Yeah.
She has a kid now. She's getting married this upcoming week. So that's pretty badass of her.
That's pretty cool.
If she somehow was watching this, hi Caitlin, how are you doing? The second chick I dated was her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if the camera will see that.
Not really.
That's Vanya.
I can get. You want me to get it closer?
Sure.
That's what she looks like.
very attractive, very out of my league. For the most part, we were just friends. Went on a couple dates. Still good friends. She's living in Norway now. Didn't end horribly or anything like that.
Just kind of end uneventfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't really going to go anywhere.
That's fair.
But she's cool. Second chick, though. This is the one I was simping for. Drove all the way to North Dakota for.
I mean, that's fair.
You want to show that to the camera?
I mean, I can. If any of them see this, this was his idea.
Tori, if you're watching this, I don't care what you think. So.
Did that? Oh yeah, that ended horribly, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to talk shit about Tori the whole time. She's a nice person.
Yeah.
I liked her a lot. But she's into really shitty dudes. And I don't think I'm a shitty dude. So it didn't end well because she wanted to date a shitty dude who was an asshole to her.
Now, how exactly... So I'm going to ask you a question on that. How exactly does... Like, when you say shitty guy, what was she saying?
She wanted a guy who would fucking take charge, basically tell her what to do.
So she
like
wanted she wanted a dominant guy.
Yeah. And her and I have a lot in common. A lot of good and bad things. You know, we're both suffering with depression. I somehow got over it. I don't know if she has or not. But I thought that was something we had in common. We like the same music.
Yeah. Same
group of friends. Same comedy. Or same sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about her. She's cool, but she's several states away, so... Yeah.
Actually, I remember there was something I left out of my high school and beyond story.
Mm-hmm.
There was another girl I dated, so I've dated 3 people actually. So we're on the same league there.
Right.
There was a girl that I met through my now girlfriend. And she lives out in North Dakota. And, you know, it was doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even mean to talk shit about her. Because, in all honesty, she's not a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel now, looking back on it, and after it was all said and done, it probably wasn't going to work. Because, you know, she had a lot of, I guess for lack of a better term, baggage.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm not going to lie and say I don't. I sure as fuck do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the kind of person that tends to help other people before helping myself.
Right, yeah, I get that.
And I felt that it was... And a lot of it was becoming a lot for me to handle on top of my problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I mean, I can't help someone who doesn't want to help them. I can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves.
Right.
If you don't want help, you're not taking help.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she really wanted my help.
Right. Which, for me, I think that was the issue with Tori, is I like helping people, but I understand that some people don't want help.
Mm-hmm.
And I can relate to that. I understand what that's like. Because for, like, me, I wanted my depression to end, but
yeah,
I didn't really want to take any steps to fixing it, because I didn't see any hope. I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So with her, she didn't want any help. So I wasn't going to give her any help. I just wanted to be kind of that person who was there with her,
right,
and could relate and stuff. So I don't know. She's goofy.
I mean, that could... Like, I don't mean to be the dating therapist, but...
Right.
Hey, I can actually be seen now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you want me to close this one too?
Yeah. Why not? We'll see how that looks.
Oh, we can...
That works.
See my sexy 225 6-foot-tall body now. All right.
And my kinda sorta tan, not kinda really,
Right.
30 something,
Right.
5 foot whatever. But you know, sometimes it's not what's like. Sometimes you have to like be the help even if they don't want it.
Right.
Like, and that's what I tried doing, and it just ended up backfiring on me because I know you mentioned depression, and that's been something that I've been dealing with for a good while now, and I'm just trying to find depression and anxiety, and I'm trying to find my way through it.
Right.
And it's for me, it's not so much is there not a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just I'll get there eventually. I'm not looking to rush anything, and if it ends up being just I have to cope with it, then so be. It just be what it be.
Yeah, well, from my experiences, it seems like nobody really wants to be helped. They all just want to be understood and listened to.
Well, no, that depends on being supportive or just playing victim.
Right.
And our door just opened. Because that's a lot of things that was one thing I tend to keep my eye out on nowadays is, are they actually looking for help or looking for pity? And if it's pity that they're looking for, then
right.
Tough, it ain't.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, now with a live studio audience. Yeah, this is a lot of firsts, actually. I'm not typically used to...
Right.
First time having... No, actually, no, it's not our first time having a guest on the show. But it's first time doing one with an actual, camera on me. And now the live studio audience that I may or may not get feedback from. Who knows?
Right. And I don't think they want their names shown. But he's a pretty big fan. I didn't watch any of your stuff in high school. But in college, I don't know how it happened. I guess we were talking about kids we went to school with who have YouTube channels. And I think it's you and Carson Frost, I think, is about it.
Yeah.
And he's never heard of you. So, yeah.
But, yeah, actually, you just brought me up to my next topic now, because this is a recurring thing that I've noticed.
Okay.
So, I guess we're the only person in the room with an online presence of sorts. And for me, it's even still weird. Finding out that people are copying you, or, trying to impersonate you, for me, it's so weird. It's still such a foreign concept to me. Because I remember, sorry, I'm getting off camera again. There we go. That should work. So I remember, was I filming an episode of the podcast? Or, hang on, let me see. Do I have those messages saved? I don't remember.
I think you've got most of our...
Yeah, I tend to keep a lot of these saved. Oh, this is back in February.
Oh,
okay.
Wow, yeah.
So this was a while ago. This was probably just before my birthday. And... shit, was I even off work yet at that point? I took a week off of work leading up to... No, actually, I think I was just...
Well, anyway, yeah, you were filming a live stream video, and...
Oh, was that what it was?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, I was streaming. That's right.
I didn't even know that at the time. I just messaged you and saw that somebody online had made a fake Charlie Mercury account.
Whoever it was... It's got to be someone I know because they found my picture.
Right.
Or they did a very...
I mean, they at least know your channel. Took a picture of...
Right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my channel, my face has almost never been part of my branding. That's almost never been my profile.
Yeah, okay.
You've
got a bunch of old videos, though, with your face and stuff. Yeah.
That's so they probably took it off one of those videos.
Yeah.
Because almost everything else I do, I don't show my face on.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been one of those rant videos I did. Because I'm not going to get into that right now. But yeah, you messaged me. And you're like, dude, someone's impersonating you on Xbox. And I'm like, huh. They at least picked something that I'm not on.
Okay.
Because I don't have an Xbox.
Okay.
I want one. I don't have one. But yeah, they were smart enough to at least pick something that I wasn't on.
Mm-hmm.
And this person was sending shit I need to actually see if I have I tend to use a lot of evidence in my stories here, but I still have these pictures, albums, screenshots. Nope. I must have deleted them. Shitty.
Well, you've been getting trolled for a bit. I think you had mentioned that somebody impersonated your brother or something on YouTube.
No, it was on. Actually, it was on YouTube. Because I remember I was laying down for work. I was sleeping before work because I was working overnights at this point, and I get a message from Carson, and I'm like, "Hey, It was something about my brother supposedly leaving comments on his videos, and it was the same thing, and it used my name specifically. Now this I'm sure I can find. I'm just gonna look up Carlson Frost. Yep. Yeah, here we go. This person left 3 comments on 3 different videos, and it's the same thing. What is this, Carson? You dare defy the great Charlie Mercury? You will never surpass him. Charles and I have way more views than you, and you will never catch up. Quit now while you still can, or else it will get ugly. Or maybe you are one to reason. Give a shout out to Charles' channel every video, or we will take your channel down. You have been warned. Now, I knew that wasn't my brother's account, because I helped him make his account.
Right, that's William Sloan or something, isn't it? Yeah.
That was the pen name we used. We used some like online generator, so we couldn't think of anything. So I knew that wasn't his channel. But the fact that they used my name, and they know him apparently, and I even went to him, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get mad.
Right.
But was this you?
Right.
Like, at the very most, you'll get a, man, the hell you doing?
Right. Well, fuck, dude. I know a lot of small YouTube channels that have been trolled over the years that grow up. I mean, there's Wings of Redemption. There's Boogie2988.
You call that a small channel?
Well, I mean, they used to be small, and they've gotten big. There's Chris Chan. I mean, I don't even know if he's big anymore, or like if his channel's big, but he's well known throughout the internet. I mean, he's the biggest guy to get trolled.
I made, I think it was like one of our earlier videos too in this season of ours. But we talked about him on an episode of the show, I'm sure, because this dude sounds familiar, and I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing? It was so fucking cringy.
Well, I know he lives in Virginia. You can find his address online. So when I was living down in North Carolina, he lived just a few hours from me.
Did you go meet Christian?
No. I don't know if I'd ever want to do that.
Yeah, I think you made the right call.
But I did give him, when I was working in politics, I did give him a call, because you can find his number online too, and invited him to come work for me. Did not answer, did not reply. So...
Well,
which is probably for the best, because I don't know if I wanted to work with Chris Chan.
Isn't he like fucking mental?
Yeah, he's a high-functioning autistic person.
Right,
I think that's how he puts it.
And I understand that, but there's a line between being high-functioning autistic, because I think that's what my brother is.
Okay.
You gotta think he's somewhere on there, just because you know him. He's got to be somewhere on there, and even he knows it and is starting to kind of grasp it and come to terms with it all. So there's that, and this dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna kind of gush here for a second. Dude's blown my mind since we left high school, because he got a job in his senior year as part of a work-study program.
Okay.
And he realized, well, I'm not getting many hours, I'm not making much money, so he got a second job. At that place. He works here in town, actually.
Oh, okay.
And he got a second job as a barista, and I'm like, you know what? Props to you for that one. At least you had the head of mind to go, I need more money, I need more hours, I'll get a second job. And he still does both. You know, to the outside person, that might not be such a high deal, because, you know, you're a barista and what else? You know, they're not very hard-working jobs. But for me, and even I was talking to my dad about it, on Father's Day, I took him out for breakfast. I'm like, and honestly, I'm proud of him for just what he's done.
Right.
Having that head of mind to go, hey, I need to get this more in order, and he did it, and he's doing good. You know, he's got a decent head on his shoulders now.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, your brother is nowhere near Chris
No.
Chan level. And I think Chris Chan has gotten worse over the years because of the trolls.
I would say
I think if people would have left him alone, he would have been a normal person working. I think one of his first jobs was working fast food, and he got fired because he was hitting on some chick and being a super weirdo, and everyone makes fun of him for it. And then next thing you know, he's blowing up on the internet, and it's just more and more and more. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty much Chris Chan. I'm looking for a boyfriend-free girl, as Chris Chan puts it.
Christian should not be the bar you're trying to aspire for.
No.
But I don't like you had like some stories actually. You mentioned some things. And I know we don't tend to get too political here on the channel. We try to avoid such hot fire issues. But like you mentioned working in politics, and I'm sure there's some things you can't talk about. Or is it all kind of fair game?
I don't know. I signed a bunch of paperwork, but I didn't read any of it. So I might get sued.
I know my job there was a confidentiality agreement, so I can't talk about specific things about my job.
Right.
And I'm not even fully sure what those specific things are, if it even boils down to what my typical day or night looks like. And if it's that specific, then holy fuck. I mean, I don't get why.
Right.
I don't do much.
Well, I don't have too many crazy stories from the political job, but I guess I can talk about it a little bit. When I first applied, it was my dad's boss was always helping out at Trump rallies, stuff like that. So he invited me to go, introduced me to the guy who's kind of in charge of the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Mm-hmm.
He set me up with an interview and whatnot, and we were going to get started. But then COVID hit,
right?
And they delayed my job for a couple months. So I'm just sitting there on my ass doing nothing,
right?
Making no money,
as we all were.
But then when that kind of started to die down, they invited me to come in for orientation, which I had to drive all the way up to the state capitol, I think 3 or 4 hours away. And sure enough, the night before that happened, or before I got up there, the riots started.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to cancel this orientation and make me wait another month or another half a month or however long it was going to be. Luckily, I was already on my way. So they said, fuck it. When you get here, we won't be able to train you or anything. We're just going to have you sign the paperwork. And as this is happening, you can hear police cars zooming by. Fucking buildings were burning down just 3 blocks away.
Right.
But I didn't give a shit about any of that. I just wanted to start this job, start making money.
Right.
And hopefully help change the country for the better. Or at least that's what I wanted. So I signed the paperwork, didn't get any training, started the next morning. And the position I had is kind of like a manager type position, which I've never done before. I have 0 experience in any of this shit. So it was very new, very scary for me.
Right.
Being in charge of volunteers, being in charge of all this crazy shit, and having no training.
Right.
But the person who was in charge of me, I'm not going to name names, she is insanely nice. Fantastic boss, fantastic woman. But I don't know if she knows what she's doing. And that's not just her. I don't think any of the people I worked with knew what they were doing. Everybody was winging it. Or at least that's what I assume, because I talked to one of my higher-ups, and that's what he said. I asked him, what do I need to do? How do I get better at this job? Is there training? Is there something? He said, fuck it. No, nobody knows what they're doing. Fake it till you make it. Which scared me, because these people are helping run the country, and nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad thing, though, is, like, when you kind of gave that little opening speech about your life and whatnot, I'm like, you know what, that's fair enough. I don't, like, Chris, you see my personal Facebook, I don't talk politically.
Right.
Ever. And when I do, guess who gets blowback? This guy.
Right.
Because I remember when Trump got elected, I'm like, and everyone had all this outrage, and I'm like, you know, and I'm always the guy that goes, hey, let's at least give it a shot, see where it goes. Oh boy, was that the biggest mistake I ever made. In all hindsight and retrospect.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, there was some sketchy shit with that job. We were having like a corporate meeting with all the higher ups and a lot of people on the same level as me, and somebody on my level asked about something that our group does, and asked if it was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who's in charge of the state said, yes, it is illegal. But our boss happens to be the president of the United States. And we have a team of very rich lawyers. So we can pretty much do what we want. And it's nothing serious.
Right.
But the fact that
Just that it's
they're
happening.
they're willing to break the law to take a few steps forward scares me. Because what else are they willing to do?
Mm-hmm. Is there not a line they're not above crossing?
Right. And I'm not anti-Trump, but at this point, I don't know if I'm for Trump. It's never going to happen, but I'd like to see if a third-party person could win the election. Ace Watkins, the first gamer running for president. Everyone go vote for him.
I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still running, but
I doubt it.
yeah. No, I don't like Biden. I don't think I like Trump. And I don't know if I'll vote. I don't know.
I know, it's like, I see all the outrage online, and I'm like, I wanted I keep an open mind. I wanted this to work. I wanted this to be good, and it wasn't. It all looked like it was just going down the drain, and even now, still looks like it's still going down the drain.
It's getting worse and worse.
With all of this COVID shit going on.
2020 sucks.
2020 is... I think the Mayans were dyslexic. And instead of 2012, it was supposed to be 2021.
Yeah.
Because, look where we're at now. I don't think we're going to make it to see 2022.
And there's conspiracy theories out there. Because it seems like every 4 years, an election year, crazy shit happens.
What happened crazy in the last election year?
2016? I don't know. I didn't pay attention, but I remember everybody says that 2016 was the last really shitty year we had. So
I think that was just because Trump got elected.
But he got elected in November.
For more protests.
What for?
Eric Garner. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, so kind of the same thing we're in now then.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
And Ebola was a big thing back then.
Oh yeah.
Thank God it didn't.
Oh, we all made
it. Be around 2016.
Yeah,
Remember
that was-
ethics class we kept talking about Eric Garner and stuff.
Yep.
It's around there.
But no, that job paid pretty well. And I quit because, there's a whole bunch of reasons I quit. I remember the fucking first day I started, I had to create an Instagram, a Facebook, and a Twitter dedicated to politics. And instantly, I don't fucking chew. Do you chew?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted.
No, I was curious.
No, fucking first day I started, created all these different social media accounts, instantly attacked by the left. And I didn't really care, because I like to see the opinions on both sides. But it did suck getting called a racist, a homophobe, a bigot, some other words I probably shouldn't say.
That's what I was called when I said, let's at least... And I only said, just give the guy a chance.
Right.
Because there was a shot that this wouldn't backfire as bad as it did. And it backfired in almost every conceivable way. And I remember there was a girl we went to school with, Brooke, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yep. No, she immediately called me, homophobic, transphobic, racist. And I'm like, I just said give the dude a chance.
Right.
In hindsight, she was completely right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that, and if she's watching, I doubt you are. I'm sorry. I hope you're doing good.
Well, the way I see it, I think Trump's done a lot good for this country, but I don't know if he's done it the right way.
I would say he's
kind of an asshole.
He's done good about it. He's also done equally bad.
Right. He's a fucking phenomenal businessman. I think he has helped fix this economy.
I think that's the one upside.
Up until now, because...
Well, that's just because people are staying home and not doing anything.
Right.
No one's really working. No one's really buying or spending anything.
Right.
We're just
except on Amazon.
Right.
Fucking Jeff Bezos is going to be the first trillionaire. So,
But like that like in my opinion that might be the only upside he's got.
right.
But other than that, I think he's a really shitty. I would say to be a good president, you have to be as good of a politician as you are a people person, because you're engaging a lot with these people when you're like running for your election.
Right.
You're engaging a lot with these people. You're trying to win over their votes. And if you keep alienating the people that you're trying to get to vote for you, despite some whatever election politic conspiracy theories you want to throw out there aside, in my firm opinion, I think Trump should have lost.
I don't know. I
With
don't think I would have wanted Hillary to be president, but
I think we were kind of boned either way.
yeah. And same with this election. I don't think Biden would make a good president. I think he shows signs of dementia and whatnot.
Yeah, I say from everything I've heard, he's going senile.
I would love for a third party to win. Somebody who's not a crazy old white man. Gamer president. Yeah. But yeah, no, working with that job, I remember, because I think I'm a pretty polite person, except when I'm trying to be funny. And when I was engaging with volunteers and stuff, acknowledging the volunteers, they are free workers doing hard work for free for nothing. They don't get to meet the president. They don't get to move up in the company. They're doing it all because they want to. And I would have to sign them up to work certain hours and whatnot. And if they couldn't make it because they have their actual job or whatever, I would say, okay, that's fine. I completely understand. But all my higher-ups would fucking scream at me. And not just me, but my little group of coworkers, because we were too polite. My boss said, you need to fucking drill into those volunteers, because if they can't dedicate themselves to this cause, then they're going nowhere in fucking life. They are a waste of human space. And I'm like, Jesus Christ,
fucking
man.
Hell.
These people are working for free. You're getting paid a shit ton of money. And working that job for a while, I realized that my bosses do not care about the people below them. They don't care about the volunteers. They don't care about the U.S. citizens. They care about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's same with all politics. I think there's a very small percentage of politics who actually care about people. But goddamn, that's got to be a stressful job if you actually care about people.
Right. Like, I think my biggest thing when it comes to politics is that I'm very... for me, it's very cut and dry. I want what's best, not for the left, not for the right. I don't care what color you are, what party you're with. Right. I want what's best for people.
Right.
What's going to make... And I hate using these words. What's going to make this country great again? And it's not individual agendas.
Mm-hmm.
It's not party agendas. It's fixing what's systematically wrong with this country.
Right. No, about the time I quit my job was when what's his fucking name? Guy who died.
Epstein?
No, not fucking Epstein. That was
George Floyd?
Yeah, George Floyd.
Okay.
It was around the time George Floyd died. I hadn't seen the video. Shut the fuck up. I hadn't seen the video. I'd only seen pictures.
Yeah.
And just assumed it was another one of those things. A black guy died, black people are upset. Because that happens a lot. A lot of black people die, and a lot of white people die. A lot of U.S. citizens die, and people will riot over it. People will be pissed. But cops got to do their job. But after seeing that video, I had a complete change of heart and realized how fucked up that situation was. Those cops are 100% in the wrong.
Right.
And it seeing that video made me fucking sick to my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like I was on the wrong side.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was carrying the weight of all this political drama on my shoulders. And I think that was the moment I realized it shouldn't be left versus right. It should be... I don't know how to put this in the right way. And the U.S. citizens sticking together and making sure that the government stays in check. Because right now, the fucking country's in chaos with riots and COVID and mass murder and all sorts of crazy shit. And it seems like it's the right versus the left, the right citizens versus the left citizens. And it shouldn't be that way. Because the right, they're not all extremists. The left, they're not all extremists. But the government and the media portray it that way.
I would say I speak purely for my views. I don't speak for the channel or for anyone else but myself there. But the way I typically tend to see it, it's like you said, not everyone's an extremist, but it's the far left or the far right that are these out there characters.
And that's what you see on TV all the time.
Right,
and on the internet.
Because it's what gets people's attention.
Right.
You know, when we started this show, we tried being a news thing. We like, all right, what's gonna get people's attention?
Right.
Like, I think one of our most popular videos we did, and I think I looked at this yesterday, as I was reviewing for our, I guess we want to call it season finale.
Okay.
I was going to go back through all of our old shows, and make notes of stuff we talked about and bring them back up to see what had changed between 2017 and now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, one of our biggest things was we talked about, I think it was E3.
Okay.
E3 2017 had just happened, and it was our third episode. And that is, I think, is probably our second highest grossing video, and it's not even that big of a number because we really don't get many views as it is.
That's probably almost all me watching you.
But it was what's happened lately,
changed,
what we talk about, and what's going to get people's attention. E3. Well, let's see what happened at E3. And we ran down. I think we ran down what Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft all did for their shows, and I think we might have mentioned like Bethesda and EA and whatnot.
Right.
But we were wondering, all right, well, what's happened? What's coming out? And what do we think about it? And when it comes to, and I don't even watch traditional news anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly watch traditional TV as it is anymore.
Right.
I get all my entertainment from YouTube or like YouTube or Netflix or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm content with it. I mean,
Right.
yeah, sure, you might see the occasional, internet drama go down, but other than that, you keep a pretty clean slate with what you watch.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, speaking of internet drama,
yeah,
because this is what I was actually going to talk about with Wyatt, but I want to get your opinion on it.
Yeah,
first.
getting into cancel culture.
I fucking hate. All right, I'll put it like this: if it's deserved, yes, absolutely cancel somebody. If they've done legitimate wrong and they show no repentance and no remorse for what they've done, then by all means, they should not be allowed to exist on this plane we call the internet. And I'm not even fully sure what's gone down with Dr. Disrespect lately. Does anyone really know?
He cheated on his wife, but that was forever ago, and
I talked about that. I would almost guarantee a while ago that was a topic of discussion.
yeah.
But apparently now he's being almost ghosted from the entire internet.
Oh yeah.
And I was reading an article about it yesterday afternoon, and I'm like, he's been banned from Twitch. He's been banned from I don't know what else. But all of his stuff, like his G Fuel sponsorship, is gone. He had a pop vinyl on some website, that's gone. I don't know.
He did a statement last night.
Did he?
It would have been about 8, 9 o'clock. He said Twitch hasn't told him why he's banned. But that's kind of BS because during his final stream, have you seen the final 8 minutes of his
I did not. But apparently
it's chilling.
It is, it's scary to watch. I would recommend watching it. He checks his phone, and, his whole demeanor changes. And, he's just, then he talks about a conspiracy theory, kind of like a Dave Icke was an Alex Jones from what I got out of it. And then all of a sudden he looks around, he drops the F-bomb, just, someone, broke into his house, and he just shuts it off.
Oh, he just went, fuck, off camera.
Basically. And that was it until last night, and he knows what happened. He just won't
Right.
put it out there, and no one else will either.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the way I see it with cancel culture. Is I don't think people should get kicked off the internet unless they're breaking the law. For example, Alex Jones. He's a fun guy to make fun of. He's a fun guy to watch compilations of. He's a crazy guy. But I don't think he should be kicked off the internet. Because this is America, and we have the First Amendment, right? We can say whatever the hell we want.
Right.
And as long as you're not crossing the line, you should be able to say and do crazy, dumb shit as long as it's not breaking the law. And in Dr. Disrespect's defense, I don't know what he's done, but it wasn't on his stream. It wasn't online. It was something that happened in his personal life, at least from what we can tell. Because if it was something he did over a stream, people would notice it and people would be talking about that. But it didn't happen that way. It was something that happened clearly in his personal life. And if he's going to get arrested for that, then that's fine. But I don't think he should get banned. Because that's not really... And all these websites, they can do whatever the hell they want. They're private companies. But if I was running a company, I wouldn't be so picky. I wouldn't start cutting off people who are making my business money.
Well,
So,
I mean, like, kind of parlaying that into something I've seen a lot of over these past few weeks. I'm sure you've seen the hashtag speaking out online everywhere. You know, I'm a big wrestling fan. I see a lot of things on Twitter of these wrestlers that apparently people are speaking out, like, oh yeah, so-and-so did such and such at this time. Even a lot of it is short. It's like accusations levied against guys. Even one guy has come out with his own story. Who was it? Keith Lee. Very big guy. He's a very big black man. Love him dearly. He's a great guy to go watch. But he had a story from like 2014 of he was at a bar and, you know, this chick came up to him, started making passes and whatnot. He's like, you know, very politely turning her down. He gets up, goes to the bathroom, comes back, has a drink, and the rest of the night, according to him, is a blur. He just wakes up in a hotel room that wasn't his and just, alright, dip the fuck out.
Right.
Now, this is, like I said, he's a very big, beefy black man. So to get, you know, so you gotta know, like, whatever you got hit with something that kind of coaxed him into whatever happened, and I'm not even sure what happened. He hasn't said, or he claims not to remember it, but I'm like, that is so odd.
Right.
And even, like, a lot of these big companies, not even just WWE, but, like, all the other ones from all over the world are, like, they're terminating people from their contracts. I think the one official statement I've seen was from WWE, and they said, we will suspend upon accusation, terminate upon conviction. And they've done it before. They've terminated people from their contracts for doing some real gross and heinous shit. Even over accusations, they terminated their cruiserweight champion a handful of years ago, and he ended up being he ended up being, you know, he was innocent in all in all of it. He didn't do anything, but I'm sure that was a whole boatload of other issues. But, you know, it's like when it comes to the cancel culture I'm seeing, and I see it in every community I'm a part of, and I'm like, and I'm not I don't seek out drama on the internet. I'm like, so I see it, and I'm like, the fuck? What's all this shit? And, you know, I tend to keep out of business that's not mine to get involved in, so I'm just like...
Well, it's a real shame, people getting canceled, especially over accusations. Tobuscus was a huge YouTuber at one point, and now he's basically nothing. No offense, Toby.
Sorry,
if you
Toby.
ever watch this...
I don't think you will, but
No.
if you happen to, or someone tags you in this, snitches.
No, I used to be a huge fan. I used to have a signed poster of his.
No, really?
The blackness, redness, whiteness poster. Yeah. But just being accused of raping a girl, he lost everything.
I mean, a lot of these are very heinous accusations, though. You can't, like... When I mentioned that champ that got terminated was over a rape accusation, which, I mean, I get it. You can't sneeze on rape. That's a very major offense. And he ended up just vanishing. And even Damascus, like you said, he's vanished.
And he was taken to court and found innocent. So, but like going back to Alex Jones, for example, and getting completely wiped off the internet. Alex Jones was taken off of YouTube first, and I don't remember the exact reasons why, but YouTube claimed he was breaking their rules.
Right.
So that's understandable, because it was on their site. But the next thing you know, he's got his Facebook taken away. And he got everything taken away except Twitter. And Twitter said, we're not taking him off. He hasn't broken any of our rules yet.
Right. I think that's the big overarching thing, is that if he's somehow violating each individual TOS, then as a company, they got full right to do whatever they please.
Right. But everyone pressured Twitter into taking Alex Jones off, even though he wasn't breaking the rules. And the next thing you know, he's off of Twitter. And now nobody hears anything from Alex Jones unless he's on an Elon Musk podcast or if you go to his actual website. Which, who's doing that? Except his diehard fans.
I didn't really do had a website.
Right. I also said Elon Musk podcast, but I meant Joe Rogan. Do we want to talk about Elon Musk?
I want to talk about Elon Musk for a little bit. That's fun.
I got a magazine with him on it.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I stole this from my neighbor. Oh, that man's a living legend.
Just covered that. Actually, can I just take that off?
I don't know. I don't fucking care.
Oh, then we'll just...
Alright, real smooth.
There you go, nice and clean. I'll let you do it that way, please. But look at that man. Look at that man. That crazy bastard. Did you ever see what he named his kid?
Yeah.
Apparently someone broke down the code for it. The kid's name's Kyle, apparently. I'm like, you drew Kyle out of all of that?
Right, yeah, it's... I know the last one is... the last few digits are him and his wife's favorite airplane, and then there's an unknown variable in there, and there's a bunch of weird shit in that name.
Oh,
but hey, only Elon Musk can...
Only Elon Musk knows what Elon Musk is thinking.
Right. And I'm okay with it. I mean,
am too. That's fine.
But the internet's not. A lot of the internet shits all over Elon Musk anytime he does anything. He smokes weed once. Let's cancel him. He fucking names his kid some weird gibberish name. Cancel him.
Actually, I think I read it in an article somewhere that the state of California would not allow that name.
It's because it had a number in it. And I think they took the number out and replaced it with another letter or something. I think.
I just imagine that kid going to school and I'm like...
Right.
How do, I imagine the teacher's doing roll call and just... I'm not going to fucking try.
Well, I'm guessing that kid, since his dad is Elon Musk, he's probably not going to go to public school.
But what if? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
what if?
I mean, God help that kid.
Live to dream.
No, I think Elon Musk is amazing, though. Trying to get us to Mars, creating flamethrowers and amazing cars, and he's got these beautiful solar panels that look like regular fucking shingles. I mean, they got bulletproof glass on top of them for hail and snow. I mean, he's just got some amazing fucking technology. Because you ask somebody 80 years ago, what do you think 2020 will look like? They're gonna say flying cars, all sorts of crazy technology. And we don't have any of that. We spent all of our time making fancy phones and Xboxes and computers. So now we finally have a scientist who wants to make some badass technology, self-driving cars, fucking get us onto other planets, all sorts of crazy shit. So I don't know how people can hate him. I think we should embrace him.
I think the self-driving cars, I can that one can be explained. Because I remember when this whole thing was kind of taking off, there was the argument, well, it's what I call the oh shit fallacy. Okay. The things you can't account for. They had, here's a good theory. I'm sure you've heard of the trolley problem before, right?
Maybe.
So there's a track. Splits off into two. There's one person tied down to one track, and 5 on the other.
Okay.
You have control of a lever.
Yeah.
So this problem, right? Do you sacrifice one person to save 5 or 5 to save 1? Or let's say it's like, alright, let's say it's like the absolute love of your life, right? She's tied down to one track.
Right. And then it's a bunch of strangers.
Nobody's on the other. Are you going to save the love of your life for 5 people or kill 5 people for that one person?
Right. And Elon Musk's car will kill all 5 of those other people to save the driver, which, from a business perspective, makes sense. You don't want somebody hopping into a car and fearing for their life, but at the same time, that's
like an oncoming car. There's someone on the sidewalk. The car typically would drive onto the sidewalk to avoid the person, but it's supposed to stop for pedestrians and whatnot. So if there's an oncoming car, but someone's on the sidewalk, and there's not a chance in hell of you getting out of that, someone's biting a bullet there, and it's the sad truth of it all, but someone's biting a bullet there, and they're trying to find it every way they can.
Which I guess with a regular car, you have that same thing, but you're using a human brain, which is a lot slower than a computer brain. So who knows? If you got a human brain, maybe everybody's dying driving that car. If that makes sense.
It makes sense to me, at least.
All right. Well, what else are we going to talk about?
I don't know, shit. We still have time.
All right.
I don't know. I just kind of want to pick your brain apart a little bit here.
Okay.
You mentioned the Christian school.
I could talk about Christianity forever.
Are you a good Christian man?
I think so. No, so Christianity has been a big part of my life forever. And the church sucks. I guess that'll be my opening statement. I think if you actually read the Bible, it's an amazing thing. But people misinterpret it all the time. People don't understand how to separate it. Okay. Let me see if I gotta get in a... Because I went to school for this shit, so I've got a whole bunch of knowledge on the Bible. The Bible is split in half. You got the Old Testament and the New Testament. A lot of people take their values from the Old Testament, which is not right at all. Old Testament is slaves and selling your daughters for sheep. All sorts of weird stuff. But that's just how the world was back then. So if you're getting your values from that half of the Bible, you're wrong. Or at least that's what I think. Because there's some crazy shit. All that anti-homophobic, pro-slavery stuff, all that stuff's in the Old Testament. But again, that was thousands of years ago, when all that stuff was okay. It made sense. The New Testament is about Jesus coming up and saying, yo, everybody, that stuff is a little outdated. Here's how we're going to do things now. Basically, turn the other cheek. Be loving to everybody, even weirdos, even people you don't agree with. Be nice to them. Try to be peaceful. All that stuff. And people forget about all of that, or choose not to pay attention. And a lot of the stuff in the New Testament is a little weird, because it's like with riddles and crap, so you have to actually use your brain to understand it. And a lot of people aren't going to take time to do that. Instead, they're going to listen to what a pastor has to say, or somebody online has to say about that little parable, little riddle. And a lot of those pastors are old school, and they'll interpret it wrong. Or at least, in my opinion, they're interpreting it wrong. A lot of Christians are very hateful, very mean, very strict, and very stubborn. But if you read the Bible, especially the New Testament, it is the exact opposite of that. It's very loving, very kind, very understanding, and very humble. So the way I see it is Christianity as a whole, the idea of it, the idea of believing in a God, all that stuff, is okay. It's understandable. That's where I'm at. But the church itself, all the people, going to a Christian school, going with very strict, hardcore Christians, kind of messed up my life a little bit for a time. And it's because they're very strict. They're not understanding. If they saw me at a bar, a lot of people would disown me. a lot of people would hate me. If they saw me vaping, if they saw me on this podcast, there's a lot of shit that if they saw me doing, they wouldn't want me back at their church. And that sucks. It's very similar to cancel culture. You do one slip up, you're out.
Religion,
you're
the first
done.
cancel culture.
Right. Exactly. No, the first girl I ever dated in high school, we started dating. We were dating for about a week. And one of the teachers at the Christian school came up to me, and she said, whispered in my ear, "You are not allowed to date this girl. It's over." I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? You're not my mom. You're not her mom. You can't tell me what to do. And it wasn't against the school rules, but she saw it as an anti-religious thing to have an underage relationship. So that was weird, and that became a whole dilemma for like a year and a half. And that shit was constantly popping up. And I don't want to get into too many details, especially not on this podcast. If this gets views and people want me to talk about religion, I'll do it in a more organized way and not just rambling.
Well, shit, maybe we might get you back on the show here.
Yeah, maybe. If you want to do a whole religious podcast. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. I think Christianity, the church, is headed in the wrong direction. And not entirely. There's a lot of pastors I see online, a lot of people I know in person, who feel the same way I do. But as a whole, the way the general public perceives Christians, it's very much like the left and the right. They see the extremists. They see the people who are entertaining because they're so horrible. So, and that sucks being a Christian myself, because I get looped into that category of being an asshole Christian.
I mean, in all honesty, I'm a Christian too, but I tend to keep my nose out of... I don't go to church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And on all honesty, and I've had this mindset for a number of years now, I can't stand the hyper-religious people. Because Christ, if they took a solid look at me, I got a skull and crossguns on my shirt.
Can't go to church wearing that. Can't go to church wearing that.
I got my wall's got a chain on it.
Mm-hmm.
I vape. I drink.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of things in my life that would be considered a sin. And I remember I was chilling at home one night. I think I had the night off work. And me, my sister, and my brother-in-law were all having a bit of discussion. And I want your opinion on this, right?
Okay.
And what our big consensus was that no matter what you do, according to the Bible, you're going to hell. Think about it, right?
Okay.
What was it? I think a lot of TV shows we consume are a sin to watch.
Right. According to the Old Testament or the church, yeah.
Right. What was it? What was it? Like, if you have sex, unless it's under the proper, absolute right circumstances, you're going to hell. If you don't have kids at all, you're going to hell. If you're gay, you're going to hell, etc., etc. And I'm like, no matter what you do,
right,
you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. And that's very Old Testament. And in the New Testament, Jesus says those exact things. He says, right now, if we continue the way things are, you're going to hell for everything you do. Who has not done something bad in their life? There's nobody perfect out there. Everybody has fucked up. And you would all go to hell. So he basically changed the rules and said, I'm going to fucking die for you so that you don't go to hell for being a normal, decent human being. So, no, going to Christian school, the pastor there and his wife were also teachers at the school. And I would consider them my mentors because they were very down-to-earth, very normal people. And I don't think I would be the way I am without them. If they weren't there, I think I would be anti-Christian. I think I would be an atheist. I think I'd hate all of it. But they kept me on the right track because they showed me that you can be a normal human being and be a Christian and not go to hell and not be hated by everybody. Every year they do, a lot of churches would hate that skull on your shirt. They have biker rallies at their church where they get all these bikers from across the country to come and go to church. And they're cool with it. They're cool with all these bikers hanging out, doing stuff, and it's amazing. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I guess the point is, don't be so strict. Nobody likes that. You're not going to catch bees by yelling at them and telling them that they're going to hell. You're going to catch them by using honey and being polite to them, showing them love and empathy, I guess.
And that, I think, honestly, God, is what the world needs, that we need to be more empathetic. And actually, total side tangent here, but I know there's another podcast out there that I've been listening to since it's come out. And I believe you guys share the same last name. Abigail Drabek? Are you, related at all?
Yeah.
What's that relation? Like just cousins or what?
Yeah, just cousins.
Oh, okay. Because she's got a podcast
Really?
that she's been doing.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she, again, messaged me on Snapchat. The one thing I never use. Because her and I were both on forensics in high school. And that was another senior year project of mine was doing forensics in high school, which I think really helped me be more comfortable talking. Even, I think even doing this, it helped me even get better at being on a microphone or being on a camera to do even this show. But, she's doing, the self-help podcast that I've been listening to.
Okay.
It's on Spotify. It's where I listen to it, at least. And I'm because... Hang on, I gotta actually look to see what the name of this podcast... My memory's shitty, I'm not gonna lie. But... the podcast title is very misleading. At least I thought it was. Yeah, it's called For Real Girl, right? It's a self-help podcast, and I'm like, okay. So with a clearly, I guess, for lack of a better term, feminine title to your show, what would this have to offer me?
A guy, right.
And she's like, well, you're just going to have to listen to find out. I'm like, well, you fucking suck. Because, it's not a bad show. It's a good listen. I listen to it when I go on my walks. And, it's it's not bad. I would personally recommend it, actually, if you're looking for another insight. And she's also very religious. And I'm like, well, it's interesting to hear these religious ideologies coming from people that aren't like me, that aren't hyper-religious people. Or that are, I should say, hyper-religious people. I'm not even sure if I want to say hyper or not, but I don't go to church, I don't read the Bible, apparently she does. And I'm like, oh, it's a very interesting thing, and she tells some really good stories. If I can try to get her on this show, I'd love to.
That'd be fun.
I think
you know what? Get a debate between her and me on your next podcast.
Oh no.
I'll show up.
That might have to be a season 2 idea. I'll just be there with my popcorn and just listen to you guys go back and forth on it, because I think this would be
I think we need to do it somewhere a little more comfortable than my crappy, tiny little, insanely hot room.
Right. I don't even think I have a place comfortable enough to pull that off.
Maybe somewhere public.
Yeah, public and private.
Yeah. No, I guess here's the last thing I want to say about Christianity. Well, 2 things. Have you ever heard of the YouTube channel Girl Defined?
No.
I think a lot of Christians are like those 2 girls on that show, on YouTube. Weird. Crazy. Extreme. And I think we need to stray away from that. But it's very... the way I see it is Christianity is very similar to what we were talking about earlier with getting canceled on different channels, for example. I think everybody has their own style, their own morals, their own things.
Right.
My parents would never vape. But I vape. And I don't know if they're okay with it or not. I don't think they are, but they're not going to disown me. They're not going to kick me out. They're not going to start a major fight over it. And my pastor, I don't think he knows I vape, and I don't think he would care all that much if he knew. But very much like making content on the internet, is if it breaks the terms of service, then you can get kicked off of that website. So, but it's different in your personal life. So me, I'm going to vape in my personal life, but I'm not going to show up to church with titties all over my shirt, swearing and cussing and vaping and drinking while at church.
Right.
Because it would break their terms of service.
Theoretically so, yeah.
Right. But I shouldn't be kicked out of the church for doing those things in my personal life.
Right, because like a big thing with me, and it's something that I've had to kind of learn with the job that I work, is separating personal and professional life.
Right.
Like when I'm at work, I'm very like, sure, I like to BS when I'm at work. A lot of people there do. It's how we make it through our days.
Right.
You know, but like if there's a guest in front of us, we're very focused on what we have to get done. And like if we're back in the break room or we're out and about, I've seen my boss out and about, and I'm like, oh, what's up? How you doing? And even at work, I walk into the vault, I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
And then I'll get into the tax of like what's going on, what do I gotta do.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I'm not gonna show up to church or work and start drinking. I'm not gonna do that. It's not appropriate, and it's not. Because I've heard this argument a lot before. Oh, so you're just wearing a bunch of different faces. You're faking who you are when you're at church. You're a completely different person. There's a difference between faking who you are and having multiple different personalities, and just learning to be decent when you're around certain people.
Right. It's like you go meet your girl's parents, right? You're gonna be prim, proper, and respectful.
Right.
Would you be that way behind closed doors when no one's around? Who really knows?
Right.
But you want to make that good, lasting first impression, and that's with anything. When it comes to like a job or a potential.
And you don't need to completely change who you are. Just learn to be polite and respectful to.
And then you can parlay that into your personal life. Because Christ, even even off camera, I'm not too different of a person. I tend to keep my same composure and whatnot when I just hang with friends.
Right.
Or like my biggest thing is if I wouldn't do it with, and here's like my big thing when it comes to what I would do out and about, would I do it with my grandmother watching me?
Right.
And I mean, sadly enough, she's no longer with us. But it's kind of the big thing I've kept looking is, would I do it knowing my grandmother is watching me and she will openly criticize me for it? And when it comes to drinking, is there like any law against admitting to underage drinking?
Is there any laws against underage drinking?
No, admitting to it, like after the fact.
I don't think so.
So I'm not gonna lie, because I know Wisconsin dictates if you're with a parent or legal guardian, you can drink with them. And I'll admit, I mean, sure, we didn't go to the bar,
right?
But my grandmother had my brother sneak her some extra cash in the car, and she went and got some liquor from Walmart, and we went home. And one night we were watching a wrestling pay-per-view just on my computer, and she's like, why don't you go get me a drink and we'll split it? But, all right, cool, fine. So I opened it, poured it as evenly as I could, gave her the glass, I had the bottle.
Right.
So she wouldn't care. When she found out about this, I mean, yeah, sure, she wasn't happy about it.
Right.
It's like, say, with your parents, they didn't approve of it, but she didn't make a big fuss about it.
Right.
All I was told was just don't do it in the house. I mean, I still did, but...
Right, yeah, of course.
But, and hell, even, like... And I was, like, so deathly afraid of telling people, like, hey, I vape now. And, like, a lot of them just really didn't care.
Right.
Like, my dad found out. I don't really think he cared. I'm sure I'd remember if he did. My mom didn't really care.
Right. Well, going on that, so I worked at a prison.
Yeah.
And a lot of the women in there have become born-again Christians. And I remember walking in, they don't have individual cells, they have little dorm rooms. And I remember walking into what we called A dorm, which was considered the honor people.
Right.
But it's usually the lifers, the people who are going to be in there for life, because they have to behave well, because they're going to be dealing with the same guards for the rest of their life. But there were 2 women in there who were arguing about the Bible, because somewhere, I don't know where, in the Bible it says if you eat food with somebody who isn't Christian, you will go to hell. I don't know where it says that, but they were arguing about that. And it wasn't that they were arguing that it was wrong, it was arguing the little tiny logistics of it. You know, how far away do you have to be from a Gentile for it to be okay or not? It was the most bizarre conversation. And I walked in and calmed them down and separated them, did all this stuff. But in hindsight, both of them are murderers. The one woman, I can't say names, but the one woman, I don't remember what she did. I remember most of the murders. I don't remember what she did. She was a psycho, though. The other woman, her and her boyfriend wanted to have a kid, but they couldn't have a kid. So she went up to her friend who was 9 months pregnant, took a knife, cut her open, pulled the baby out. The baby survived. She had the baby for about a week. Police found her, took the baby back. Baby's still alive and healthy. And now that girl is in prison for the rest of her life. And she is a very nice woman. But I don't know. It's weird. It's such a weird, touchy subject, because when I was working there, I had a very different mentality than a lot of the other guards working there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't look at her as a murderer. I looked at her as somebody who I'm just working with, somebody I have to see every day. So if she's a Christian, then we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about whatever. She's a cool person. But a lot of the other guards and a lot of the other inmates hated her because of what she did. She killed a pregnant woman. And I think a lot of Christians, if they were to hear, I tell a lot of my friends who are Christians about this story, and they're like, how could you treat her nice? How is that possible to treat somebody so horribly with respect? And I'm like, I don't know. The way I see it is we've all done horrible things. Right. Everybody's human. And I think some people have done really horrible things and have just never been caught. And we treat them the same. The way I see it is just treat everybody equal. And don't treat them differently until they've treated you differently, I guess.
Well, I mean, and I feel really weird about using so many different wrestling analogies in here, but this one kind of, it parlays in this one so well. I'm sure you've heard the name Chris Benoit before?
No.
No? Okay. So, then I can tell you the story then. So, he was a pretty well-acclaimed wrestler. He had done stuff all over the world.
Okay.
But when he died, they found he was supposed to be at he was under contract with, I think it was WWE at the time. He was supposed to be at a pay-per-view. It was like in September.
Okay.
He was supposed to be in a title match, and he just didn't show up.
Mm.
So they tried getting a hold of him, and he just wasn't answering, nothing. So all right, well, we'll deal with that separate. They found out Monday that he was dead. So they held a memorial episode for him on Raw. And then they found out later on the circumstances, because he had killed his wife, his son, and then himself. And he very clearly, even Dr. Autopsy shows that he was not in the right state of mind, because he had doctor reports said that he had the brain of an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient at like the age of I want to say he was like in his 40s. He wasn't terribly old.
Right.
And like there's half of, and like the community is like kind of split in half. Is he should be recognized and whatnot for all of his accomplishments.
Right.
But he killed his wife and son. And for me, it's kind of or even Michael Jackson. All those really nasty ass things that happened at the tail end of his life, but people still recognize him as the king of pop. Like I still hear Michael Jackson music played on the radio all the time at work.
Right.
So it's like it depends. Where do you
draw the line?
Yeah, like where's that line drawn?
Right. And there is no cookie cutter answer to these things. You know, you ask my mom, she's okay celebrating somebody who did all these good things but ended up murdering somebody. But she's not okay with somebody who did all these good things and then ended up raping a kid. So for her, that's where you draw the line. But for other people, you would draw the line somewhere else. And like I said, there is no cookie cutter answer. Everybody has their own line that they draw.
Right.
Some people hate Michael Jackson. Can't stand him because of the things he's been accused of. And some people love him. Some people celebrate him. And going back to empathy, I think we all just need to find a way to get along and be okay with what everyone else is okay with.
Now, I think this might be the first place in here where you and I disagree on something.
Okay.
Because I get, empathy and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between, I would say, Jackson and Benoit is Jackson was accused, right?
Okay.
Was he ever... Do you know if he was ever actually acquitted or charged with anything?
I don't know.
Because I wouldn't know that either. But people have dead to right proof that it was Christopher Benoit that killed his wife and son.
Okay.
And, some people are like, oh, he should be in the Hall of Fame for it. And there are other people going, his name should never see the light of day again. And honestly, I think rightfully so. Because I can let a lot of things slide.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could let someone's life being taken and be okay with that.
Right. No, I get that too. They're just such weird, touchy subjects, and it changes over time. It changes with culture. I mean, a couple hundred years ago, if you saw a man kill his wife and kill his son, that might be okay a couple hundred years ago in another country. Here, at this time now, that is not okay. Not okay at all. And like I said, it's where you draw the line. And when it comes to businesses and big corporations, should he get the Hall of Fame or should he not? It's such a weird subject. There is no real answer to it.
Well, it's like a lot of people with it, and being perfectly honest with you, it's not even a real Hall of Fame. It's whoever head guy says, you know what, he deserves the honor, they do, she does, they do. And, there are a number of people that, even if they've done nothing wrong, that deserve that recognition, aren't going to get it because, for whatever reason or another, they've somehow crossed, you don't cross the boss.
Right.
But I don't know, that's kind of where I wanted to talk about that. And honestly, I'm not sure I can think of much of anything left to talk about. Unless you got something.
Not any new topics, but continuing with this one. Football is a good example.
Okay.
Kaepernick
okay.
is insanely hated because he protested at the national anthem. And I think people misunderstand that. I don't think he's anti-America. At least that's the way I see it. He's anti which direction this country's going in. But he is hated, and that's where a lot of American citizens draw the line. Don't kneel during the national anthem. You stand and you salute. But then you've got somebody like Ray Rice who punches his girlfriend right in the face. And then he gets back to work and people are okay with it. Or Michael Vick, or O.J. Simpson, or all of the other NFL players who've done horrible things. And to certain people, it's okay. And to certain other people, it's not okay. And a lot of those people go right back to playing football. But Kaepernick, does he play football anymore?
Doubt it.
If he still does, nobody wants him on their team. So it's really where we draw the line. And the question is, are we right where we're drawing the line? Continuing with that. Right now, we think we're drawing the line in the right spot. But you asked us 20 years ago, they would say no. You ask us in 20 years from now, that line moves constantly. And it's such a touchy subject. A couple hundred years ago, in our country, slavery was okay, and now it's not. Not so long ago, being gay was wrong, and now it's okay. And currently, being transgender is kind of the odd, weird thing, and it's not really okay. But in 20 years from now, it'll be normal. So the question is where is that? Where the hell do we put that line?
Well, I think with that one, that's what a lot of these protests and whatnot are for now.
Right.
Because I've said this from pretty much word go, is that, people ask, well, why the hell are these people protesting? And I'm like, it's very simple. People want concrete change. They want change that's going to stick.
Right.
And like you said, 20 years from now, there's going to be that change, hopefully enough. Or they'll still be fighting for it then.
Right.
Because you gotta remember, we wouldn't have gotten even this far if it wasn't for the civil rights protests way back when with MLK.
Right.
That got a lot of segregation abolished.
And looking back on it, clearly that was wrong. The way white people were treating black people was clearly wrong.
Right. And some would probably even say that in this day and age today, that we're not where we should be, and I kind of have to agree. Because, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, list of people, all died for very minor or no reason.
And after kind of the black movement, we kind of had the homosexual movement. And they were protesting, having parades, all that stuff, fighting for their right to get married. And a lot of people were hating on that. And looking back on it from now, clearly we were wrong. We needed to accept them, and that needed to be okay because they're people too. But the question is where is that line? Because right now we're fighting for trans rights. What's next? Having sex with kids? Having sex with animals? How far will it go? And where does it stop being right and wrong? Because clearly we were wrong on the blacks and the gays. And currently we're on the trans and we haven't figured out if that's right or wrong. Where is that line stop from being okay to being completely abnormal?
I think, personally speaking, I've got a lot of friends that are that are LGBT, and I've got no problem with it. I would say the point in time, at least, and take it from the straight white guys, take it with as small of a grain of salt as you want. And that's why I don't talk about a lot of political things, because people go, well, you're a straight white guy. Anyway.
And we've got opinions too, so.
Right. Honestly, my stance on that is if you're happy with who you are, whether you think that you were born in the wrong body or born in the wrong gender, or, that guy or gal across the street is smoking. If you're happy with who you are, then that's where the line draws. And if when it comes in, like you mentioned, the kids and the dogs and the animals, when I'm like, that's where the line firmly ends there. I would say that line firmly cuts off with people of it's a lot of things. It's age of consent, really.
But are we gonna be thinking that in 20 years from now?
Probably, I would still say probably so.
Because 40 years ago, you ask somebody if a black guy can drink from the white guy's water fountain, they would be as firm and highly against it as we are now with having sex with kids.
Now, the point on that is you got to take it as a scope of scale here, right? That is treating somebody as an equal person versus a crime.
Which
nowadays.
Is a crime now.
Right.
But in 20 years, will it be a crime? Because not that long ago, it was a crime for a black man to ride in the front of the bus. And now it's not. Now it's normal. And everyone's cool with it. Well, most people are cool with it.
Honestly, and you're asking some really hard-hitting questions here. I appreciate this. Yeah, no, I think in 20 years from now, in the year 2040, when we stop at that line, that line will still be firmly in place of you don't fuck a kid. You don't fuck your dog. I hope. If that protest ever comes around.
People are doing that right now. NAMBLA, North America Man-Boy Love Association, they're fucking kids. There are people who are marrying their animals and banging. Mr. Hands, you ever hear of him? He's the guy who took it up the butt by a horse and died. That was 10, 15 years ago. Big internet sensation. So,
oh my god. That's amazing.
The correct answer to this, and I've thought about it a lot, is there is no correct answer. It changes constantly. And in 40 years from now, I'm going to be an old man, hopefully. And I'm going to be looking at my grandkids thinking, this world has gone in the wrong direction. And you asked my grandparents, they're looking at us now, they're thinking the world has gone in the wrong direction. But being young, being in it, growing up with this stuff, this is what we know, this is what we've grown up to accept, and we're okay with it. But in 20, 40 years from now, that line will have changed, and it'll be new and frightening to us. And we're going to hate it, and we're going to resent it.
A lot of things are new and frightening at first. You know, it boils down from even, you know, you try getting a kid to eat something they haven't eaten before. Or at our age, you know, starting a new job. You're entering a new relationship. For a lot of people, that, and myself included, I was terrified when I started my new job, or the job I have now. Mm-hmm. And that was going on 2 years ago.
Right.
And now it's like, it's a normal facet of my day.
Right.
As I wake up, go to work, come home, and sleep. And, you know, when it comes to the socio-political topics of the world, I don't know, I guess my philosophy is I just keep an open mind. If there's something that I'm truly against, then I'm not afraid to say I'm against it.
Right.
Like, if the question ever pops up, and you can quote me on this one, I'm not afraid to say this one, if the question ever pops up of, is it okay to have sex with a child, I am going to look you dead in your eye and ask you what the hell is psychologically wrong with you, because no, that's not. Or having sex with animals. I mean, it's not. I can't stop you with that one.
Right.
But, you know, do you? I don't think that's okay.
Right.
I would never do that to any of my pets.
Right. No, it's a scary world, and it's always getting scarier. And there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to either keep an open mind or fight against it. But all fighting against it, it's not going to stop it. It's just going to delay it. So we might as well accept it and see what happens. Maybe the world will fall apart, or maybe it'll get better. Who knows?
That's fair enough. And I think this is a good place to stop it from here.
Sure.
I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Right, thanks for coming to my house and filming this.
That's not a problem. If you guys like what you heard, make sure you let us know down in the comments below and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at Mercury_P1. Do you have any social media you want to shout out?
I rate and sell on everything. Or Jake Drabek on things like Instagram.
And that's that. So I'm Charlie Mercury, that's Jacob, and Wyatt will be back with us next week for our Season 1 finale. And I honestly God hope you guys tune in for that one. That's going to be a very special episode, and we will get back to you guys as soon as we can. But peace out.